there are players here, there are good federations, they are represented, I mean, president is playing captain and delegate. So that's the reason I believe in the past, the proxy system created for FIDE, I mean, in such a way, and you shouldn't touch it, I say again. As he says, I can decide anyone to represent me and should be delegate or not, but I believe again, we should not change anything in this.
And remember, we're only talking here about elections. After elections are over, then it's open again to any proxy, new proxies.
But you mean that for elections, I have a right to suggest things, and for non-elective methods, like deciding who is going to get Olympiad?
No, I'm saying, yes. What I'm saying is that the proxy, the argument over proxy is purely for the period during an election, because as soon as the election is over, then the list is open again and any new proxy can come, be allocated or whatever else it is.
So it means
we're only really talking about an election.
It means you discriminate a vote for elections and for other matters. And it's also not democratical in my opinion. How you can discriminate a vote? I mean, it's my federation decision, I don't care election. Maybe I care only the Olympiad decision.
Fine, so you
no
problem.
Again, you discriminate.
Like that.
I think in the case of a federation, within a federation, it's not a proxy. And I really the opinion of
if the delegates are the proxy, we clarify this. We need to.
within a
we don't go back
federation,
to this.
within a federation, they don't need a proxy. This is.
They have to change the delegate. This is what they have to do.
Just have to
This is clear. This is clear. This is clear.
Just again on the point of definition, one gets a general proxy and you get a special proxy. So there's nothing wrong with what Nigel says, that one can call for special proxies solely for purposes of the election, and you can have a general proxy for other matters.
But if you change the meaning of the proxy so that you don't call it a proxy inside the same country,
Not the same country, federation.
Federation.
Yeah.
Then you need to clarify who are entitled to vote on behalf of that federation.
The delegate, because in this case,
Yeah, but if the delegate is the one who is stuck in Copenhagen because
Then
there's
the
a
president
strike
can.
on the...
and the president,
Okay, so we need to clarify
We have
that
it.
there are certain other representatives that immediately
have
can,
it.
and,
We have
and the order, rank order of those.
we have this. Jorge.
Okay, just to clarify myself. Actually, for instance, I'm going to give the proxy, and I can give a closed proxy. For instance, I can give a closed proxy to you. This is given to Mr. Macropoulos. Or,
Thank you, Jorge.
yes, I can write to Mr. Macropoulos or any of his nominees.
Yes.
These work in the new system
Yes.
or not?
Yes, it works. You know, I want to say something.
Yeah.
The idea of having the proxies is because many federations, here about 20 there are, for sure 20, I mean that they will not have, they don't have teams. They cannot come, they don't have teams, so you give the right to this federation to send somebody that they trust, as somebody that they trust from another federation to represent them. This is the main idea. If we go to solutions like Mrs. Ruth has referred before, that, okay, if there is a delegation, but the president is not here, the delegate is not here, somebody from the delegation can represent the federation. The problem here, it's a real problem, it's not hypothetical. The problem here is that sometimes within the federation, there are different opinions whom to support in the election. One group wants to support Karpov, let's say last time. Other group wants to support Grumchino. So within the federation, also they should ask the person that they trust to vote on that moment. If we go there to the situation where there are not officials, and there are only players, then one player who doesn't play is the one who can go to the elections. We don't know if this is the player that the president trusts, who is giving the proxies. And we don't know also 14 days before who is going to be the player who will not play. So how you can understand It's really very simple and it's correct, and based on all this that Aliki says, that we leave to the federations. Whom the federations they want to, they trust and they want them to represent, this is up to them. Why we try to stop them? If the federation was to give a proxy to me or to Gary, what to do? This is the decision of the federation. Why we try to limit now this right?
The federation give a proxy either to another person of the same party
Yes,
or
yes.
to the delegate or advocate.
Just to
Yes,
summarize,
okay.
a federation must nominate its delegate at least 2 weeks before the General Assembly, or must give a proxy at least 2 weeks before the General Assembly. After this moment, we have to modify point 5.4 of the
Sorry,
electoral
when you say
regulations.
5.4, which document?
Electoral regulations.
Electoral. Right.
Well, in this moment it's possible only for the owner of a proxy to change, or we can add that even the delegate can nominate, can assign.
You said this before. We took this note. Somebody said, I think you said before also.
Yes,
About the same
just to clarify,
All right.
the system, the general system.
Yeah, we wrote it.
Yes, so so if this is the right solution for everybody, we can just maybe redraft a little bit this
Yes.
point, but if there is a general agreement on this point.
Yeah.
Okay, clear for
Okay.
everybody.
Yes, we have one objection.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Nobody seconds your objection, so
No, it's just.
We will see in general
It's
assembly.
the.
Sorry, Jorge first, and then you, Gary.
Yeah. One thing. I shall be very against the sentence any of its nominees. We know that the process is given 14 days in advance. When would be exercised these, at what time would be exercised these, any of its nominees? At the right moment? When?
that's it.
No, he's saying, Jorge's saying the proxy has to be put in advance. The proxy says it's given to
Jorge or
Roberto
to
Rebello
any-
or his
his
nominees. Jorge's saying when, then,
I-
or his nominees, when.
No,
does
no,
that happen?
I think that there is a name, and this name and this person can change.
Well,
But
it
it
normally
is a
says,
name.
no, it normally gives a name and or his nominees, is what it normally says.
Yes, but all the other nominees, this possibility, this faculty can be exercised in the limits of this rule.
Up to 5 o'clock the day before the
We
assembly.
can change this if
Okay.
we want, but maybe we
Okay.
can have more hours.
Up to 5 o'clock the day before the assembly. Okay?
Gary?
Yeah, I'm trying to summarize because there are a number of points here. So what Roberto said, it's correct, but I think there's again a time gap. You cannot have delegates' names and proxy the same day. You should give a little window for people to look at the list. So if it's 2 weeks for assigning the proxy, it should be probably 1 month for a list of delegates to be published. People should know who is there, how to give their votes. At least you need a little gap, maybe 2 weeks, maybe 4 weeks before the deadline for proxies. I think it will be natural. So.
But Gary, the delegates, we know actually because they are published on the website.
Yeah, but I think
So
since I think let's make it official because it's changing.
Yeah,
so-
but if we are making it official, Ali is right. We cannot say delegates should be known 1 or 2 months before. Why not 14 days before? What's
No,
the
but
problem?
look, at least you can just if some federations don't want to publish the list or the change, that's a clear signal for those who give proxies that these delegations are not sustainable. So they will look at the list. FIDE should encourage federations to publish the list earlier
Yes.
to receive proxies because those who have the permanent delegates or the presidents coming, those are looking more solid for those who want to give proxy. So I think it's just encouraging. You cannot force. I agree with Ali. You cannot force federation if they want to hide it. But it's very natural that the list is published.
You know, of course the list will be published, but your proposal is not solving anything from any tricks that it can happen. Because let's say a federation publishing a new delegate 1 month before, and then gives a proxy. It's possible, you understand?
Yes.
So you're not solving anything by this, what you are asking.
Yeah, it's basically, it's giving confidence to those who cannot attend and wants to sign a proxy that this is a federation that already made its mind, and there are less chances for this federation to be. Yeah, it's again. I don't see a big conflict here. I'm just trying to come up with a reasonable suggestion, and I still believe that the best solution for this problem within the last 2 weeks is to say only physical presence of the president will trump the proxy. If proxy is given, I think that's very important. Only physical presence. If somebody comes back, then you can cancel. Otherwise, it cannot be reassigned.
Yeah. Whatever. I think he's right on this point. I agree also only president, not delegate, not general secretary, nobody else. Only president. If he appeals, he can cancel the proxy. You agree?
Yeah.
Yes, so we take note of this.
So you want to add a new rule that is written that
the physical appearance of the president, we had this discussion also before. For me, it sounds logical completely. If the president appears, he can cancel it. Of course, except, for me there is an exception. Here, but we cannot actually deal easily with this. Those federations, again, that they have delegates that they are elected by their General Assembly. For example, we have a delegate here, and then delegate give a proxy, or he comes, and like the United States, Mrs. Ruth is coming.
Is selected by the board, not by the General
By the board.
Yes.
So you are coming, so you can cancel with the decision.
Yes.
Okay, but the English Chess Federation isn't selected by the General Assembly.
But
English,
English
Georgian also.
I don't understand also to change, to limit it only to president. Also again, for me it's a problem. I mean, that president
Because
can change. I will tell you let me explain. You have some presidents, they are prime minister and president of the republic. They cannot be accessible, they can be very busy. I don't understand this.
if you added this
Federation
rule,
is a
then
management.
you
Sorry,
focus.
let me finish. Federation is a management. You cannot dictate me who is going to decide it. If I authorize deputy president or general secretary, what's the problem with those? Already it's defined. I don't understand why do you try to again to limit the democracy.
No, this is not. We are not limiting. We are protecting the rights of the federations here. Listen what you say here. The your federation has decided, yes, that I'm going to be your delegate.
No,
I have a proxy. Listen, Ali.
Proxy. About proxy we are talking.
I have a proxy, yes. So I'm going to be your delegate by proxy. I represent you by proxy. And then, if except you, any other member of a federation, general secretary or any vice president, whatever, can appear in the assembly, he vote instead of me. So one of your guys who is not with you, is from your position in the board, can appear and say, okay, Mr. Makropoulos cannot vote. I'm here. In many federations, this is possible, how you can understand.
I understand.
And cancel the proxy that you gave. Your
It's
board
not
decide.
It's not possible at the moment. How it can be? Why you change something to make it? I mean, it's not possible at the moment according to FIDE Statutes.
Even this moment, according to the previous statute, yes, this is possible.
How?
But the general secretary appears or the president, and it's not valid, the proxy.
A proposal. 2 weeks before the General Assembly, a federation have to indicate its delegate, and if they want a proxy. If they give both the names and the delegate appear, the proxy can be deleted. This way we have the name, so we have the clear situation, we know who can overrule the proxy.
I believe we should think a little bit more about these scenarios. As we discuss, we find new problems, as Roberto says, many people says. I think to change something like that very risky. We have to be very careful.
Okay, the original proposal here is that we cannot change this proxy. Full stop. Now, we understand that maybe there is a need. I personally am more with what Gary he says, the president can only change. Because if we are opening windows, then we can have a lot of tricks here. Because we have elections, we know what's going on. That's why I'm more in favor with this idea.
Can I ask a question?
But okay.
You are talking about proxy, or, for example, what about
Proxy.
permanent delegate?
Delegate is delegate. He comes and he votes.
Okay, only about proxy we are talking.
Yes. Only about proxy.
But you can
Can we
change
get some break?
Just give you an example. Federation A indicated the name of its delegate in the due time, so 2 weeks before. Federation B don't mention a delegate, but just to give a proxy. The day before the election, the president of this federation come also the president of the other federation. The first federation cannot change. The second federation can change. This is completely unreasonable. So you have to give the same rights. So
This is what I said.
Yes.
That's why I say I agree with the proposal of Gary that the president can.
No, cannot. No, it cannot. Because the federation sent 2 weeks before the name of its delegate.
Yeah.
This is exactly the rationale of all the system. So the Electoral Commission can discuss, this is the right federation, yes, this is not the right federation, this is the right president, this is not the right president. You can discuss, you have time to do this.
Okay, this is something let's discuss.
Yes, it's not you change the system, you completely annul the value of the send everything to weeks before.
Take this proposal. Will be lost completely. So, we will think about this. There are some serious problems here. We will think about this. I mean, Gary, you should think also to find the best solution here. We will think also to see how we can manage this.
Okay, anything more on proxies before we go on?
Oh.
Yes?
Yeah, we spent a lot of time, and it's understandable because it's a really big issue. As Marco just said, it's election is the most important event, and things happening. I think that after all negative experience of the past, we may be looking for an outside solution before the elections, rather than looking for outside solutions after the elections. And I know there was an idea already thrown on the table of asking one of the big four to supervise the proxies and all the procedures. I also understand that inviting any outside assistance is expensive. I agree. So I have a radical solution. I think it's so important for FIDE and for the future of the organization, for the image. I think we should ask, or just make a provision for every candidate who is running, to lay down an amount of at least 50,000 Swiss francs towards legal expenses. I think it's natural because everybody wants to have transparent procedures, and FIDE should not pay for that. I think that should come from the pockets of the candidates. And if we have one of the big four, like PricewaterhouseCoopers, I don't think there will be any more problems left, because we all know that they will be totally neutral and they will supervise every procedure. So if we can agree on that, then I think many of the issues we are discussing now will become relevant.
Yes, Gary, for me the most important is not the money. The most important is the principal matter here. It's like we say, we don't trust our people.
No, we don't trust ourselves.
We don't trust our people, we don't trust ourselves. We cannot have a clean procedure here. This really, I personally, I cannot accept. I believe that we should trust our people. We don't need big four, I don't know whom, to run our elections. Our people should run our elections, and we should trust.
They're not running elections. It's about verification process, and big corporations in the world, they invite them to do the job. I think it's very natural. If we want to look
do what job
absolutely
will
transparent.
find if the delegate of each federation is Mr. Abundo or not, or if the proxy is correct, has been sent by the federation.
Yeah,
we cannot do this.
Look how
cannot do this.
How many disagreements we have in this room.
Disagreements about procedure, not about.
Exactly, and there's always a loophole. No matter what we write there, and you see there will be loopholes. And if we're talking about very tight political situation, then one or two proxies could make a huge difference. I think that transparency is what we are praising, and I don't see anything wrong for the image. I think it's to the contrary. I think it will boost the image of FIDE, especially after the two conflicts we have or we had in the recent past. I believe this solution will kill every microbe of the conflict.
First of all, I'm totally against someone from outside coming and ruling us. This is not in any kind of democracy. For companies, yes, but companies aren't democracy. They are profit-making places. When we talk about democracy, there is a system, of course. We use, for example, in Turkish Chess Federation, that this body should be elected at the beginning by General Assembly. Till end of the General Assembly, they rule the General Assembly. But I propose, certainly, every candidate should have a clear member in this commission. Okay, every candidate already here. So then we can select somebody impartial in the General Assembly. This is the system. If we give it to someone outside, like a notarius, like a judge, somebody, this is more dangerous because, first of all, it's a personality problem. You don't trust your body, you don't trust yourself, you authorize someone else to come and to advise you. It's not logical.
No, look, in my opinion, the problem we had was we had no rules. For these reasons, and we had no rules before the election, before the moment of political issues. So now we really need to have rules, but we don't need to have external experts, because this is not such a complicated point. If you have clear rules and you have a commission that has to be created before and not during the election. For example, I don't agree with Ali when they say the General Assembly have to nominate someone in this moment. This has to be in our statute. So we have the general, what the idea of the Electoral Commission. The idea is, in the statute is written, who are the members of the Electoral Commission, and this is clarified before. And now we need to have rules. If we have rules and we have an organ that can decide on these rules, this is more than enough. And I'm sure we will have no additional problems. So this is all the rationale of the system of the Electoral Commission. So my idea was exactly this. In the past we had problems because we had no rules. Now is the right moment to have rules and to solve these problems without needing something.
Yeah, and also one of the reasons of having 14 days is that this commission, the Electoral Commission, will look at the proxies, and then those who object to the proxies still have plenty of time to object then in advance. I mean, it's one of the reasons of having the 14 days is that if you object to any of the proxies that they've agreed to, you have the time to do it. So it's all done well in advance of the General Assembly.
I don't think it's right to say we haven't had no rules before. It's all about how you practice those rules and the rules itself. Now, this commission that is appointed to overlook this is very important. I think it was not correct to have the continental presidents appoint when the same presidents already were in favor of one of the candidates, for instance. So if we can solve the composition of that very commission in an agreeable way, it gives more credibility to the work they do.
Yeah, that's fine. There is no
We can find a different composition, but you have to find now, not the day before the election.
We've moved the...
Yeah, I think we can find a common ground between what I said and what Ali said. If we give enough time to form this electoral committee on a neutral basis. I think the candidates are announced, the registration is 3 months in advance. So definitely the candidates who are running, they should be given a voice. Because right now, as Morten correctly stated, we have continental presidents, which gives unfair advantage to the incumbent. So if we can agree on a method of forming the electoral commission, I think that should be okay, because again we know each other, we can trust each other, providing, as Roberto said, the rules are very clear and there is no loophole for us to disagree.
Yeah, okay, Gary. We will try to bring a proposal.
We'll try and write something that covers
what you say.
Before you move from proxy, I will ask something about procedures. All this procedure, there is something missing a lot for me. Maybe I couldn't because of my. It should be all transparent and published. Every single proxy, date, everything on the FIDE website should be published, and
the new regulations say
and appeals to this should be limited with the time. After this time, even it's wrong, nobody can change it. It should be like that. Otherwise, we cannot save us from court cases. It's there.
It's there. Yes.
The Electoral Commission actually is formed by an election at each continent, not by the continental president. It's been changed.
Yeah, but it's just an example of how we can have a system that on paper looks good, but there can be...
Well, we've changed it, and it's not there
Thank
anymore.
you. That
By
we changed
elections in every continent, it's not by continental president.
It is still there,
But-
because
but-
continental presidents still choose.
Yeah.
No, this is, you know, it's not for the elections. If we have emergency election, one vice president has resigned and we want to elect, and then because we have no time to elect in the continent's representatives, then they nominate. But this is not for the normal elections.
But we had the same discussion in the 2006.
For the elections, is this system what we described before. If we have an extraordinary assembly or elections in another assembly, not the year of the elections, then we go to the nomination by the president. But it's not so important.
No, but we had a big fight in 2006 also,
Yes.
how to put people in this. So you know, this comes, so the more we can agree on how this is done,
Yep.
everybody, then the better the process will
We'll
work.
try and write something, maybe
Okay,
you can try and write something and
we
we'll
will
see.
see,
if
but
we-
the procedure which is now is not nominations for the continental president. Okay, so it's a clean procedure. It's elections in the continent. It's also the right of the continent. Do you have anything else about proxy? So I propose to break 5-10 minutes. There is coffee.
Yes.
And we come back. Yeah?